Hello to all war fans and welcome to my overview of new High Elf units from the Yvresse faction led by Eltharion the Grim. You will see what they look like, how they fight, and what abilities, spells and stats they have. In my previous video I have shown you new units from the Broken Axe tribe of Greenskins led by Warden the Paunch, and you can watch that video if you click on the link up here on the right and in the description below. All these new units and lords are part of the latest Legendary Lord pack for Total War Warhammer II, called the Warden and the Paunch. If you are interested in the lords and want to see more about their factions and the campaign mode, you can check out my factions guide by clicking on the link up here on the right or in the description below. I am going to start with the new Legendary Lord Eltharion the Grim from the Yvresse faction. Eltharion the Grim is the unflinching Warden of Tor Yvresse, his faction's capital, which houses the prison to which he sends enemy characters he defeats to extract knowledge and secrets. Atop his mighty griffin, Stormwing, he swoops into battle and wields a spear and a sword, along with the spells from his knowledge of high magic. This offers him the flexibility to alter his role in battle based on the situation at hand. His defense-focused abilities also make him excellent at holding firm battle lines. His passive ability is the Mistwalker's Barrage, which is an area of effect bombardment of arrows summoned around him. His active ability is the Warden's Stand, which buffs leadership and melee defense of friendly units around him. The Fang Sword of Eltharion grants him the ability to self-buff for more armor-piercing weapon damage and 44% of physical resistance. The Helm of Yvresse gives him another active ability, this one usable on himself or other units, with the effect being indestructibility and unbreakable morale for a short duration of the ability. The Talisman of Hoth provides Eltharion with access to the lore of magic, so he can cast 3 different direct damage spells, 1 area of effect and 2 buffs for units. Besides Eltharion, High Elves are getting the new Archmage Lords, 1 for each lore of magic, these being the High, Heavens, Light, Shadows, Life, Fire, Death, Beasts and Metal lore of magic. They all have the Arcane Conduit ability to improve their power recharge rate and can mount the Elven Steed, Idmar's Chariot or the Great Eagle. Before I move on to the units from the Yvresse faction, I would like to remind you to hit that like button below if you're enjoying this video and leave a comment about your new favorite High Elf units. Also subscribe if you do not wish to miss more content like this. In this DLC, High Elves are getting a cheap sword unit called the Rangers. They do not hold a strict formation and this allows them to travel through forests, as well as having more room to fight with greater finesse, which makes dodging enemy attacks possible. Their main use is in the early game, made obvious by their cheap price. Next up, there are the Silverin Guard, a heavy spear unit specialized in the use of heavy armor and shields. They are an anti-large and an anti-charge unit. Add to that their shields and this makes a list of possible counters against them dwindle to heroes, siege units and magic spells. Their actual combat stats are not stellar, so they only rank as a mid-tier High Elf unit. The real treat of this DLC is that you get to play with War Lions. These are deadly hunting cats, powerful creatures with a muscular frame and a sharp, cunning mind. Almost as tall at the shoulders as an elf steed, a War Lion of Chrace is far stronger, able to break bones with each sweep of its claws and shatter even helmeted heads with a single bite of its fanged maw. They excel at flanking vulnerable targets due to their good armor-piercing attack. Besides this, they can draw enemy missile fire due to their high missile resistance, as their main is too thick for regular arrows. Their Regiment of Renown version are the Rahagra Pride. Their special ability is called, you guessed it, Mighty Roar. It reduces leadership and speed of nearby units when activated, triggering a rout more easily. If a Lion unit looks awesome to you, how about we take that up a notch with the Lion Chariots of Chrace. Each chariot is drawn by a pair of these ferocious beasts. They are tanky and heavy hitting at the same time. Considering Lions shrug off missile fire, these units are great for maneuvering in the skirmish phase of the battle to run off enemy range units. Just don't get them tangled in any spear or anti-large units. I have saved the best for last in the form of the Arcane Phoenix. These are majestic and fearsome creatures with wingspans as great as any of the mighty war eagles of the High Elves. They are cloaked in blazing feathers that can turn the sharpest arrows, their true power bound to their nature as a spirit of fire. Their main ability is the Ember Storm, a flame vortex which they create when not engaged in combat on the ground beneath themselves that slowly expands, doing moderate damage. Their passive ability, the Fiery Rebirth, is something you would expect from their kind. If an Arcane Phoenix falls during battle, it has a chance to rise again from the ashes, triggering a large explosion in the process. Its Regiment of Renown version is called the Omen of Asuryan. Much like the regular Arcane Phoenix, it is a strong infantry killer, but with the ability to negate psychological effects. It has an additional passive ability which projects a constant radius around it that makes friendly units immune to psychological effects like fear or terror. The bonus unit in this DLC is another Regiment of Renown unit called Talons of Tor Caleda. It is a lightly armored archer unit which serves the Prince of Caledor. They have the flaming attacks as well as fire resistance, which makes them ideal at causing fire damage while also defending against it. Very useful against any large or massive enemy unit with the fire as their weakness. As for the campaign exclusive units, there are the Skyhawks, Mistwalker hybrid infantry. They feature penetrating projectiles, stock, Vanguard deployment, but have very low numbers. There are also the Sentinels of Astaril, who have spears and bows and can break shields and fight large enemies, but their fire rate is very slow. Spire Guards of Tor Yvresse are unbreakable and also use spear and bow, and fight large enemies while having low numbers in a unit. Athel Tamarha Faithbearers are frenzied armored infantry with shields, while the Knights of Tor Gaval are winged riders who not only do armor piercing but also cause terror as well. There is one more thing to mention, the free downloadable content coming alongside the Warden the Paunch DLC. The Legendary Lord Imrik, Lord of Dragons. He can ride Minainhir, an immense and very powerful dragon. His Dragon Horn ability grants other units the power to cause fear map-wide and buffs the melee attack of all friendly units. Imrik uses the Star Lance, which grants him fire damage and the flammable contact effect, as well as buffing his charge bonus and charge speed. As I leave you with these cinematic shots of these units in combat, I will put up cards for my other videos about this DLC, a faction guide for Broken Axe and Yvresse factions, and a breakdown of all the new Greenskin units from the Broken Axe. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more.